Is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Hofel from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
What is up, you guys? It is indeed Unbiased and On the Fence. I've got open phone lines for you guys tonight. I did want to announce that the new website was launched for the West Coast Mandela Effect Conference. I do have that link below. You can check it out and get registered. If you can make it out, that would be awesome. It is MandelaEffectConference.com, your one-stop information center for Mandela Effect conferences and meetups. So please do make yourself aware of that. If you are Mandela affected and you want to be, part of the Mandela Effect group, as we are. And we also have our Mandela Effect Friend or Foe book launched, and that link is also below. Really excited about that. I've been working really hard to get the ebook version out. I'm so close, but it has to be right. I thought I had it all done, and then I realized parts of it wouldn't be readable with a screen reader. And, there is visually impaired people, so I wanted to make sure it just has to be right, you know what I mean? So even if it's going to take probably an extra week here for us to get it launched, but at least it'll be right, and we won't, have anybody that's missing chunks of the end notes or anything else. Let me go here. Okay, so how are you guys feeling this evening? I've been kind of wore out. But I haven't had as much sleep as I probably should have. Been busy with a lot of extra things in my life and working to get this book going. So it is nice to take a break, come to the, it is kind of nerve-wracking right at first, but it's always wonderful to talk to you guys. Looking for anyone that wants to call in tonight. And here is some Wingmakers music to get us started. love that Wingmakers material music. Let's bring in Biker Babe. What is up, Biker Babe?
Hey, not too much. I've been so busy. How are you?
Oh, I've been doing great. I hope you're not working yourself too hard.
Oh, yeah, I got lots and lots of overtime, but that's okay. It's Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been wanting to call in, and it seems like either I'm exhausted or I'm working and I don't dare, you know.
Oh,
but
I get it.
I've got so much stuff to tell you about our trip.
Yeah, I want to hear. I haven't talked to you since ECETI, so yeah, I've been waiting for this call-in, this update.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay, first off, we got to tell everybody, like, gosh, you had such a hard time getting there with your bike and everything, but you did make it.
Yeah. I have to say that has to be like the best trip in the world. I can't imagine anything better than that. It was so amazing.
Yeah, it was.
I even with all the trouble I had with the bike, with the carburetor, and it was spitting gas on my leg all the way out there and all the way back. I had it looked at, and we had so many things that happened to us. But you know what? I didn't let anything ruin my trip for me. I just had a ball all the way out there and all the way back.
How bad was the gas leak? I mean, were you soaked the whole time, or?
Yeah, I was pretty much soaked. I think I got to throw my chaps away, but I tried actually washing them in the, in the clothes washer. You're not supposed to do that. But I couldn't think of any other way to get it out. But I think they're so soaked with gas that it's never going to come out completely. But yeah, I had a jet that was sticking on my carburetor, and so every time I would, speed up or slow down, it would spit out just a little bit, but it was just enough. By the end of the day, I was just soaked.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the adventures we had was just amazing. We ran into several big thunderstorms on one on our way out, one on our way back.
Mm-hmm.
And 100 degrees going through Missoula, Montana.
Oh.
We went up mountains that would curl your hair.
Mm-hmm.
Curled my hair twice because it's already curly.
I was going through those mountains, and I got behind somebody on a motorcycle, and I was like, man, this would be a lot of fun, but it wasn't all that fun, huh?
Well, it was, other than the fact that most of the mountains that we went through, it was 75 miles an hour and hairpin turns and big logging trucks, and it was that's what made it scary. The guardrails weren't that great. The roads were a little bit more narrow. Rita went through the same area we went through.
Mm-hmm.
And she said most of the roads were wide, and they were, but we went through some stuff on the bikes that, like I said, was completely different probably than what they would have gone through with their motorhome.
Yeah.
But
that drive from Flagstaff to Sedona, those really curvy roads, and they're so narrow, and you've got all these people rolling through with these huge mobile homes, and it's like only a foot clearance, and it's like, my goodness, how is there's just not disaster every day on this road, you know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, and then that doesn't help. They have bulletin boards that go, oh, there was 100 deaths on this mountain already this year, and you're going, oh my God.
Yeah, that was one of the books they sold at the Grand Canyon, all the deaths. All the people that fell or something. It's like they're in the visitor center, like, oh yeah, people die here all the time. Get one of the books with a list of everybody,
Yeah, right?
Don't be careful and have your name joined to it. I guess it is sort of a deterrent to be careful, right?
Exactly.
Please don't be featured in our book, right? I mean, that's what I thought. I was like, wow, a lot of people die here. I'm going to have to be extra careful. So I guess it does. It brings it to the forefront of your mind that there is real danger there at the edge.
Yeah, but you know what? I guess my fear of death has gone right out the window. I don't want any pain. I'm more afraid of, wrecking and being in a lot of pain. I would rather, if I'm going to die, I'd rather die on the motorcycle and you know, but go right away. I don't want to suffer, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
Definitely.
I got to tell you about the amazing things I saw on the way out there.
All right, let's hear it.
I saw more on the way out there probably than what I saw when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
The day before, or the day before, not the day before, but the day we arrived, we had gotten up in the morning and we were driving through, we went through Oregon first, I think, and I saw 2 UFOs, and they were the long ones like Eileen saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I saw a plane that was stalled in the air. If you've ever seen the videos about that, it was amazing.
Oh, you got to see one of those?
Yeah, and it was red and white. It was a plane I've never seen before. It was really fancy, and it was just sitting there in the air. And I kept looking at it, and it finally struck me, that thing, it's not moving, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw probably more freaky things on my way out there. And then we were coming through the Columbia River Gorge, which was just beautiful. And as we were going through, we came around that one corner, and there was Mount Adams in front of us, and it was just like a sight to behold. It was so beautiful,
mm-hmm.
you know, just standing up in the air, and the smoke going around the top of it, the steam or clouds or whatever it was,
mm-hmm.
and it was just gorgeous. And so that I literally had chills through my whole body when I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when we actually got there, I was so, what do you call it? I don't want to use the word attacked, but it was like I never had 1 minute to even go pee when I got there. I was like, everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's Biker Babe."
That's so funny that you say that, because, you know, I heard your motorcycles pulling in there, you know, and I was like, I wonder who that is. And, you know, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me like immediately, but someone said, Biker Babe. I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Biker Babe. And then we all started, your motorcycle gave you away. That's what it was. Everybody flocked over. Just like Jesus riding into town on the donkey or whatever, you know what I mean?
Oh, and that sucker is loud. I don't have any baffles in my pipe, so it's
and you weren't
really
alone.
Loud. But yeah,
I bet James thought he was being attacked. Like, oh, what is a biker gang coming in here? What's going on? You know?
That's
that
funny
awesome,
because
though.
I thought about that. I was like, ooh, I hope they don't get upset about, you know, because we are loud.
Right.
And he didn't care at all. In fact, he was like offering suggestions for fixing my carburetor, and he even mentioned it in one of the shows. You know, one of his shows, something about, you know, oh, Biker Babe, did you get your carburetor fixed? So, you know, that was really cool. That, you know, he is so personable and so likable and so down to earth that I think that, you know, you couldn't help but really like the guy, you know.
Right.
He was spending time with all of us. I got to spend a lot of time with him, a lot of time with Alice and Co. And I was so excited to see Tony Taylor and, of course, Jose and Eileen and everybody that, you know, I watch all the time.
Yeah.
So I was just absolutely overwhelmed by everything. And Michelle's opinions, oh, my God, we spent so much time together. We had so much fun, her and I. And with her with their crystals and her daughter. And
that was a beautiful ceremony there, too. Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah. And then what was so cool is the last day I was there, she gave me the last of the crystals in one of the bags, and she told me, you go and do something with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I went out into the field where all the, what do they call that field? Where the
vortex.
You can go and see.
Oh,
yeah, where the
Pleiadian circle or the medicine wheel?
Yeah, the Pleiadian circle,
mm-hmm.
where, you know, you go and you stand in front of which one, you know, and I went and I spread the crystals among all of them, and for some reason, you know, kind of led to whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I needed to do. It was amazing. And like I said, the chills I got from that was just unreal. But to get back to when our first day there, we had that big storm roll in.
Mm-hmm.
And my roommate and I had rented a tent, and we got rained out of that tent, and they got us another tent. And I don't know if you were out in that rain at all, but it was like ankle deep. By the time we got washed out of our tent, our stuff was all getting rained on, and they gave us a second tent, and that one had rain going right on the bed.
Oh,
and
no.
so then we ended up in the Hobbit tent. Which actually that was kind of nice because there was like 3 or 4 beds in there, and so we put all of our gear on one of the beds to keep it up off the floor. But the amount of rain they got, James said, was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like a record amount that he's never seen. Just dropped right on us, but yet all the lightning was going around us, not hitting anywhere near us.
Yeah,
that was
cool.
That
was crazy. And then that night, I heard something monkeying outside the tent. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think, honest to God, I swear there was a Bigfoot messing around outside of our tent.
I wouldn't doubt
and, I heard animal calls, which, you know, I heard on the whole trip. In fact, when we got into Yellowstone, I heard, what are them called? Sandhill cranes
Mm-hmm.
calling in the middle of the night. Well, they don't do that.
Oh,
You know? And James said that sometimes the Bigfoots will, you know, mimic other animal calls.
Yeah, and they don't do a very good job at it.
Right.
So you can tell what they're trying to sound like, but it just isn't quite right. That's so funny. That's hilarious, you know. That's why when you said, you know, pulling in with the motorcycles, there's no way they weren't hooting and hollering excited. That's the kind of energy I feel off of them, you know.
Yes. And then setting off the car alarms, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was a cool story. He was James was telling us about the Yeti or Bigfoot was setting off a car alarm because it wanted some apples, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was several times. It wasn't just once.
Right.
You know, I kept thinking, why aren't those people shutting off their car alarms? And it wasn't until the next day that, you know, James told us, well, the Bigfoots will do that.
Oh, you know, that's funny because when you I thought he was talking about a different time. I didn't know it was actually happening while we were there. I thought it was like he was just telling us an old story, but that's wild. But maybe he was, and maybe it was happening that night too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. It happens when certain guests come there, and it did happen. Was it that second night we were there?
Right.
So
that's
that would
the night
have
it
been
rained.
Saturday night. Mm-hmm. So, well, I got there Friday, remember, so it would have been Saturday night.
Oh, right, that's right.
Yeah. So, everything that was happening was just so surreal to me from the time that morning of Friday that we got there until I left on Sunday. It was just like it was surreal, you know, like this isn't even really happening.
Yeah,
and,
I know that feeling. That's crazy, isn't it? It's like, wow. And then you see people, and it's just not, like, you know, seeing Eileen, for instance, for me. I know it's like that for a lot of people with me, but, you know, for me, you know, seeing Eileen in person and not through the screen is just weird. So I'm sure it's like that with me for a lot of people.
Exactly, yeah. You're a big old monster. I had no idea how tall you were. Holy cow. I was like, what?
Angela was really tall too. I was like, Angela, somebody my height. We must be from the same star family. Come here and give me a hug. Angela, did you see how tall Angela was?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, and Tony Taylor too.
Yeah.
So, wow, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I feel like a little shrimp next to everybody.
We must be from some tall alien breed or something. Who knows?
I was going to say that, but I was being nice. I was going to go like, you know, you and Tony and Angela, yeah, you guys are like the, what do you call them, the tall grays or tall whites? Or...
Right. That's so funny because Who was it? Well, you saw the one outside your place that time, didn't you? Say that one was really tall. For its
I saw
head
a tall
to be
white,
in the
yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's amazing.
I would say that tall white that I saw had to have been about 6. I'm guessing about 6'4", maybe more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was able to measure, where I have a bookcase in where the window where he walked by, and his head was above this bookcase, which when I stand outside and I'm trying to look in that window, my head is below the bookcase.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to imagine in your own mind. You don't think about it until later. Oh, geez, that had to have been really tall, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've had other people say that, like when they first meet me. I had one person say they saw me as this really tall, one of those elongated skull Anunnaki-looking people, and somebody else saw me as sort of an Egyptian person. Another person sees me as sort of a 7-foot person. It's weird that I got this tall thing going on, or people think I'm taller than I am because they get this intuitive hit about my height or something. But I'm only, just for everybody to know, I'm only 6'1.5", so I'm not like that tall.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have guessed like about 6'4".
Yeah, a lot of people do that. That's so
and
weird
I had,
to me that people have that.
Well, and I had my motorcycle boots on with pretty good heels. Mm-hmm. And so, and you were like towering over top of me when you came and gave me a hug. So I would have guessed a lot taller. Huh, that's strange. And
it's my
you're
Egyptian.
An alien shade.
Yeah.
You're
really.
Egyptian, yeah.
All you intuitive people are picking up on the height thing from my other lives or something, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, because that's very strange. I would have sworn that, you were at least 6'4".
Wow.
Huh. That's very strange.
So besides meeting all the people, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I hate to say this, and I don't want to say who it is because it's a very private person, but I do know of one person who was out there who had their butt spanked by something that they couldn't see.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know of one person too.
Mm-hmm. So there were several.
Right. So, and I heard, actually, before I heard of anyone the weekend we were there that happening to, they had said that a month before that, for the big 4th of July thing, I had just heard a story about someone that said they got goosed. They went out there, they were, sending nice thoughts to the Bigfoot, and the next thing they know, they got goosed, turned around, and no one was there. Nobody anywhere around that could have done it. They clearly got goosed. So then Shiny, which this is public, I don't know who else this happened to, but Shiny said that she was waiting for us all to go to the Pleiadian Circle to do our group meditation, and she had kind of walked ahead of everyone, and because everyone was kind of lagging behind, she turned around to wait, and then she got hit on the butt, and she turned around, nothing was there. So later when she met the little short Bigfoot, she said she thinks it was him that was hitting her on the butt. A little, I guess it's like a child-sized one. I don't know if it's a kid or what, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. And there's a whole nother big story behind this one that, I'm really not supposed to talk about, but I mean, there was definitely something there.
Spanking butts.
I don't know. I just, it's so odd that we felt like myself, and members of the group that I came with felt more close to the Bigfoot than we did to any other ET or vortex or anything else. We felt like the Bigfoots were there, like we had a big connection with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot stronger than I expected. I was kind of expecting it to be more, craft and things like that, but it was more Bigfoot and things on the ground. That's sort of up close contact that people experience, which was awesome.
Right. That's what I thought too. I thought this is almost even cooler, than having any other kind of contact, is having this Bigfoot contact, because then after we left and we went straight to Yellowstone, and we spent a night in Yellowstone, and that was when I was hearing all those calls. And
they were there too, huh? They're just all over, aren't they?
Yep. And then we went through Yellowstone. We did a few little tours there in Yellowstone, and then we went through Beartooth Pass, which is oh my God, that's another whole story. I'll tell you what, if you want to pee your pants, that's the way to do it. Oh my God. Hairpin curves for 60 miles, hairpin curves and bottomless chasms, and when we got to the top of Beartooth Pass, it was snow. And oh my God, I'll tell you, I was like, not snow on the road. We could just see, there was snow on the sides of the mountains and stuff, but we were that high. And when we came down the backside, we were in Montana, and the place that we stayed at that night, once again, I got the feeling that there was something out there that, that almost like they were following us or something. It's the strangest feeling I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think that they get around.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have them actually here in Oklahoma too. So I'm just kind of shocked right now because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I bet they're just all over. We're just, it just seems like they're sparse because you never hear, it just seems like there's only a few, but I bet there's a bunch all over.
Oh yeah. My sister and I have done squatching basically just to go out in the woods and see what's out there, and we've seen where there's the broken trees, 12 feet up, and there's trees stacked on each other, and so we've seen evidence of it. And I know that, there's times I felt weird up here too. Oh, and I got to tell you something else. The one thing that has been popping up a lot lately is, Michigan is split into two pieces, and I think I talked about this before. There's Upper Michigan and Lower Michigan, and we call ourselves Yoopers, the guys up north in Upper Michigan, and we call the people in Lower Michigan Trolls because they live below the Mackinac Bridge.
Oh, right.
And, so they're trolls. And so the strangest thing has been happening. All of a sudden, for some reason, a lot of the maps that have been popping up on just these random, soda pop advertisements and different advertisements people have been finding, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is gone. It's either in Lake Superior, or it's in Wisconsin, or it's in Canada. And so I'm of the opinion that due to the Mandela effect, something's going to happen to us up here. If I disappear, you guys remember me, okay? Isn't that the strangest thing ever?
Yeah, that really is. I'm trying to, let me see if I can pull it up here.
Yeah, I'm not near my computer. In fact, my TV just died on me, so I can't watch the chat. I can't watch anything. I'm just talking on my phone.
Oh, rolling blind tonight, huh? It feels that way if you're used to watching it. Let me double check and make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see.
Because a lot of it is on actual advertisements and stuff like that. It's been popping up on Facebook, so I don't know if you'd find anything on Google or not. But, yeah, it's like the UP of Michigan is just disappearing. And I don't know, when I was a kid, I remember going down to Lansing on a field trip, going to the Michigan State University for some classes that we did for 4-H class. And when we went downstate, I don't remember going over a bridge. And you literally have to, if you travel from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to the Lower Peninsula, you have to go over the Mackinac Bridge. And it's a 7-mile bridge. It's one of the most famous bridges in the United States.
Yeah,
and
it didn't exist for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Exactly.
Wild.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, when I'm an adult, everybody's going over the Mackinac Bridge, and I'm like, oh, cool. Mackinac Bridge, Mackinac Island, and now all of a sudden we're starting to disappear off of certain maps.
Wow, that's kind of alarming in a way, I guess, huh?
Yeah, like I said, if I disappear, you guys go, goodbye, biker babe. Yeah, it's very strange.
I have a feeling that, you would just relocate or something, Because I've seen it. Think about the Maldive Islands that just popped up out of nowhere, and there's that, 6-foot wingspan bat now on that island. I was like, that whole island is new, and yet all that life is thriving on it. And then I've seen whole chunks of land just disappear.
Yeah.
So where did all those people go? I think they just are somewhere else. I don't think they're, just they don't exist or anything. I just think they're somewhere else, and they've always been in that other place, according to them,
Yeah. That's quite likely. I see the one thing that I've noticed in the last year is I've seen a lot of disappearing vehicles. And I've talked about this on your show. The snow plows have disappeared for me.
What do you mean? Give me an example, like the snow plow. How did that play out?
Okay. There's a street that I go. I have to go up probably about 100 feet, or down my street, and then up about 100 feet. We're set in a valley, where there's a canal that cuts the Upper Peninsula or the very tip of the Upper Peninsula, and I'm situated there. So we're kind of set in a valley, and so I have to go up a hill to go back down and around to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And one morning I was getting ready to go to work, and it was like about 5:45, and so I went up this little street, and it was springtime, and the snow was all gone. It was starting to warm up. It was getting real nice out, and I looked to my right. I have to pull out and go left. And I looked to my right, and there's a car coming down the hill with a snowplow behind it. And I was thinking to myself, well, that's kind of odd. The snow is gone, and why is there a snowplow out? They must be putting it away. So I looked left to see if there was anyone there. I looked back right, and both the car and the snowplow were completely gone. And there is no place that they could have possibly pulled up, a street, or there's nothing there. And
okay, so that gives me chills. That gives me chills because I was taking this trip, I don't know, a few months back, and there was a car coming the other way. It had been raining, so, it's kicking up the rain and everything, and it passed me. It had turned off its bright lights for me, and I just happened to glance over to see him turn his bright lights back on, and there was no car there, and I actually turned around in my seat, and there was a car behind me, and it didn't kick up the rain. All I saw was my own mist I was kicking up on the road. It wasn't like an extra blob that flew by from the car. It was just gone. So fast forward to today, I'm about to pull out of my subdivision, and I see a white truck out of my peripheral. I don't ever look at it. I just see it in my peripheral vision. And I looked to the left because I knew there was a vehicle to the right. So I looked to my left. It was all clear. I looked to the right, no vehicle there. And I assumed that, well, maybe it was up on the highway because the highway's just ahead of me. And maybe my mind, out of my peripheral vision, thought it was on the road. So then I turn out and my wife goes, wait a minute. I thought you were just about to pull out in front of a white truck that was headed this way. I'm like, oh, you saw a white truck? So it just disappeared for her too. So I thought I was just tripping until she said that. And we both experienced the vanishing white truck that should have been in my way to where I couldn't pull out. So she saw the truck and was kind of alarmed when she felt me pulling out in traffic because she knew it was coming, but it wasn't anymore,
Yep, exactly. That's what's been happening to me.
Nowhere it could have went either. There was not even a place to turn in or anything. There was a highway on one side and a field on the other. So.
Yeah. And then I had another one. I was going through town, and we have a weird little roundabout type area on the other side of the bridge because we're almost like an island up here because we have this little Houghton Bridge that, you have to come across. So the whole tip of the peninsula of Upper Michigan is almost like an island.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same thing. I was coming around the corner on this little roundabout area, and literally there is no place that anybody could turn. And it was a big truck that I saw coming too, and it was gone. I was like, okay, he's coming up on my left-hand side. He's going to pass me, and there's no place he could have gone. There's not one street that he could have possibly turned on. It's a one-way area, and there's nowhere he could have gone. So, and this has been happening to me a lot lately, and it's picking up. It seems like a lot more.
You know what this reminds me of, Biker Babe? This reminds me of, like, if you some video games will have like a replay mode or whatever. So what you can do is you'll go back into the replay mode, you'll watch everything what's happening around your character, but if you go to the edge of what your character can see, you'll see the cars that passed you in the city will just disappear. Like once they left your view, they weren't being used anymore, so they just kind of disappear, and it's almost like something like that's happening. Because why don't we see them? Why don't we see them appearing? Why don't we have? And I know there's a video out there where it shows cars appearing out of nowhere and smashing into cars, but that's actually the one that went viral is fake. That you can find the original of before they erased the cars out of there. So there is. It was, I think, from an insurance commercial. They were like, cars that come out of nowhere. It was a funny commercial, but for some reason it went viral and people thought it was real or whatever. But so why don't we see that? Why don't we have a car like, why didn't I pull out? It looked clear, and then all of a sudden here's this pickup and bam, Thank goodness it doesn't happen that way.
Right, yeah, because holy cows, it would be bad. Especially if I'm on my motorcycle and all of a sudden a truck appears in front of me. That would not be cool.
No, that would not be cool at all. And that's the same way with the Mandela effect and the traffic lights. I'm like, man, for that switch to happen, it had to have happened right under our noses, and you know what I mean? And it just was like it was always that way. I mean, it was always green on the bottom for me, but I'm saying for the people who it changed for, it had to happen in a way. Because think of the wrecks that would happen if the lights switched all in a moment like that.
Right? Yeah, I never
That'd be
thought
crazy.
of that. Wow. Yeah. And I have so many personal Mandelas, and it's like, it's so frustrating that you can't tell somebody, oh, look at that picture, look at it changed, and I'm the only one that looks at it. So I have a picture in my bedroom, and I bought it because I really liked it, and it was just a picture of open ocean and a little bit of beach and on a cloudy day, and I really liked it, and that's all it was. And then one day a boat appeared, and then a couple months later a second boat appeared.
Oh my gosh,
then
that's wild.
There's 3 boats in the picture, and there's the beach is receding so that the water used to come right up to the edge of the picture. The water's receding, yeah. And there was no reflection of the boats in the water, and now there's a really nice reflection of the boats, and it looks like they're racing.
Now, for anybody that's just tuning in and you haven't heard of the Mandela effect, so when you look at this painting, if you go and look at the new boat, it will have like little fibers of dust on it like it's always been there. It won't look like somebody painted it overnight. It will look like you've just somehow missed it all these years.
Yep. And the strange thing about this picture is something compelled me to buy it. It was at a rummage sale. It was probably 50 cents, and I was at the time that I bought this, I was really struggling financially, and I'm like, well, you know what? I can afford 50 cents, and I love looking at the beach, and something compelled me to buy it. And
kind of like the Thinker statue I probably got for $1 or a couple bucks or something. It's funny.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I bought a Thinker statue. And I happen to be bopping around with my ex-husband. We hang out every once in a while, and we had my little granddaughter. We were buying some stuff at a sale. Some people were just selling all this stuff. He has there was an actual bronze of the Thinker, and I pointed it out to him because I've talked to him about this stuff, and I said, would you look at his face, where his hand is on his face? And, I kind of explained the whole Mandela effect about the Thinker to him. And so we decided to buy it because it was an actual bronze.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got that. And I'm thinking it's probably quite valuable, and maybe even more so because of the Mandela effect. Who knows? But, yeah, you would have loved it. It's probably about, 1.5 feet high, something like that.
Wow.
And
that's a big one. Mine
yeah,
wasn't that tall. It was probably 10 inches, 8 or 10 inches or something. It was like a desk size.
yeah, this one's big. It's like really big doorstop size, and it's really heavy. So anyway, so he's got it. I think he's buying a house and probably putting it in his house. So, I didn't want to hang on to it because he really liked it. So,
All right.
Anyway.
I was talking to Jamie, it's been a while since he's been in the chat, but Jamie was telling me, he sent me this clip from a book, I think it was an audio book or something, and the guy was explaining he made a reference to the thinker statue, and he said something about his chin was in his palm, like on the thinker statue. And as soon as I read that, I was like, wait a minute, I kind of remember a pose where he had his chin in his palm and his fingernails were kind of by his lips, right? Like he's going to bite his nails or something. And I was like, why is that pose familiar to me? So I told Jamie that, I'm like, for some reason, it must be ready to change to that because I have that dual memory thing that happens when you have a memory. And he goes, wait, that's the original pose for me. It always had the chin and the palm with the fingertips by the lips, the opposite, just completely around, And that's how it was for me first. And then it switched to the forehead. I'm like, wow, how is that possible? Because it was always the forehead since the time was a kid, So it's just weird that it's changed so many times. So that's like 4 versions of it.
Yeah, that totally freaks me out.
That's weird, huh? So tell him to keep an eye on it. It's probably going to change again.
Oh, man, that would be so cool, especially, with him having bought it and looking at it the way it is and then, watching it change. That would be amazing for him. Yeah.
Let me see if he's changed again, because last I was let's see, thinker statue, he was sucking on his knuckles the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about time for a change. Let's see. No, I think he's still sucking on his knuckles. But that thing coming out of the side of his head, my goodness. How did nobody notice that?
Yeah, I don't understand why.
What is it supposed to be? Do you know what it's supposed to be?
Mm-mm.
It's just weird.
It looks like a wing or something. It's just the weirdest, like a...
He never had a big horn coming out the side of his head.
Well, and then I have this lamp that I bought, and I think I talked about that already, too. And it was a Vietnam War souvenir. Mm-hmm. And it has 3 dragons that, are the base, and they hold up a globe. And I looked at it one day, and all of a sudden these dragons had boobs. What?
What the heck? Oh, God, that's hilarious.
Yes.
Some of the changes are hilarious.
Yeah, that one's actually really funny. So I took a picture of it, and I sent it to my daughter, and she goes, yeah, that's pretty freaky, but what's freaking me out even more is their tongues are gone. And then I realized they had all had tongues that stuck out, and those tongues are completely gone.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, they don't even look nearly the same, and they have, instead of feet, they have fins now. They look like water dragons and not, regular dragons.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's just strange.
Mm-hmm.
So we were having a fair here, and the guy was eating a chicken leg, or a turkey leg, and I was thinking of that painting, and it's like that's one that I've heard people like allude to, but it's not there anymore. Do you know the painting, Henry VIII, I think, painting?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's one people still make jokes about, but little do they know it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And, we've got Thanksgiving coming up, too, and the Stouffer Stovetop. I probably should just do another video and get that out there, because that one, man, that one's got to wake up. It seems like at least 50% of the American population that grew up at least bought it once or something and would know,
Yeah, you'd think so, but no. I asked my son about that. You remember when I used to make Stouffer Stovetop stuffing all the time? He goes, no, it's always been craft.
No way. Craft?
Yeah. Yeah, that's my 35-year-old son saying that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
mind-blowing.
that freaks me out. Is when the people that you've been with your whole life and you show them something and they're like, no. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what did my wife got me the other day? What was it? And this was out of the clear blue. And this is like me, like when the Mandela effect started first happening. But she's just getting to this point of like being okay with it and making jokes or whatever. So at some point there was I can't even remember, some article of food, and said, yeah, Dad loves those things. And I'm like, wait, I don't like those. And, yeah, you've always loved them. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? But she was just pulling my leg. But she did get me for a second there. I was thinking, oh my gosh, What? But she got me good because I've heard stories about that. There was one where a guy like always liked mustard, but she remembered him always liking mayonnaise or something like that. And he's like, "No, I've always hated mayonnaise." And she's like, "You always loved it. And then it switched, so they felt like they were two different people, even though they seemed like the same people. So when she said that, I totally bought it. She totally got me. But at least she's coming around. This is something she wouldn't have done, a year or two ago. It was like I would even crack jokes about it after a while. And she's like, it's always about the Mandela effect, you know what I mean? But so she's not like that anymore.
Well, and that's my roommate. Every once in a while we have a day off together and we'll go have breakfast. And he always ordered his bacon crispy and he likes his toast crispy and all this other stuff, so we'd go and have breakfast. And I'm not a big fan of going out for breakfast because I usually don't even have my hair combed by then. But so anyway, we had gone out for breakfast not too long ago, and I had extra bacon on my plate, and I said, "You want some bacon? It's nice and crispy the way you like it." He says, "I don't like crispy bacon. I like mine rubbery." I said, "No, you don't." And he goes, "I've always liked my bacon rubbery." I'm like, oh, "Who are you?" So
that's wild, though, isn't it?
And then the other thing we have is we have this mat in the house. When we moved in here, it's by the front door, and it's rubber on one side, and it's like carpeting on the other side. You know how some of them floor, and you wipe your feet on it before you come in the house. It's real heavy. And I had come home from work one day, and I was looking at it, and it was plain. There was nothing on the top of it, and so it was easy to vacuum it. I just leave it sit on the floor and just vacuum it. And I came home from work one day, and there was a little square on there, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I looked at it, and it was a little rubber stamp of the company that made the mat, and it's always been there. And I pointed it out to him. He looked at it, and he looked at it, and he went, that's never been there, because he vacuumed the rug, too. And so, I've had a lot of, very personal Mandela effects that now the people in the same house as me are starting to notice. So, yeah, that was one of the weirder ones I think I've ever seen, is that one there. Oh, and then the boats in the picture. That's
yeah, that one's definitely weird.
And the boats are getting bigger. They were real small when they.
Oh, it's like they're coming at you, huh?
In the picture. Yeah, and they're getting bigger. Well, they look like they're in a race now, but they were real tiny when I first noticed them in the picture. And the one in the lead is getting bigger, and the two behind it are getting bigger, and now the reflections are in the water are getting bigger. Wow. And so it's just it freaks me out. It's like I watch Once Upon a Timeline, and she does all the Mandela effects, and she says there's a duck picture.
Yeah, I saw that behind her that changed, and it's been changing. I'm so glad you said that, because I was just sitting here thinking about Eva from Once Upon a Timeline talking about that picture doing a similar thing, adding colors to the bird or something. I forgot what it was, but
yeah, colors, and then there's weird little feathers sticking up on its back or shoulders or something like that. Yeah. So. Yeah,
man, that's wild. Do you imagine one day you're going to see like the boats up on the shore and like the Spanish Inquisition disembarking or something? Is it going to? Where's this going? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and then what I noticed is on the left-hand side of the picture, it kind of circles around, and there's a little bit of land on the left-hand side that goes around this little bay that's in the picture, and it's right now it's all blurry. So something's going to happen over there.
Oh wow!
And,
See, you know what would be cool
yeah.
if it wasn't if the Mandela effect wasn't a beyond time sort of thing. You could literally like take pictures of that painting every day and then create this animation over a period of time. Unfortunately, the Mandela effect doesn't work that way. They will all just change.
Yeah.
All the pictures will get updated each day that it changes, which is another weird aspect.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of disappointing because I thought the same thing. I wish there was just one other person out there that could watch this picture with me and watch it changing, because it's just the most surreal thing you've ever seen. And
I know, that bothers me when you try to tell somebody that isn't like affected, and you try to show them something, they don't take it seriously, so they don't really pay attention. Because me and my son watched the colors in this video change, and we told everybody about it. We're like, do you remember? And they were like, no, we don't remember. And then it changed again, and we went back to them like, remember how we said blah blah blah? Yeah, I don't really remember. And it's like, oh my gosh, if you just had paid attention, you would have noticed.
Yeah, and it's just like, I want to beat my head against the wall. Exactly.
I was just glad I had my son there, and then, we could give each other knuckles and be like, what the heck? Because it was cool. It's cool to see something change. And the funny thing is, I was like, wait a minute, I downloaded this. Let's go check the one I downloaded. And it had changed. So we were like, what? We were freaking out about it. It's cool. It's cool.
It is. It's cool. It makes life more exciting, knowing that there's something going on out there that's beyond us and beyond our understanding. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and seeing UFOs and on that trip and having the experiences with the Bigfoots and I don't know how else to say it, Yetis, Bigfoots.
Oh, Kate's talking about the mini horses. Are those are new too, aren't they? Have you seen the mini horses, Biker Babe?
I'm not sure. I've seen so many new animals. I'm like, my head is spinning with new animals.
Yeah, there's a bunch. And I'm also wondering if it's that CRISPR DNA manipulation thing. I don't know, if somebody got a hold of that, they could have a lot of fun in the lab with that. And this is exactly what I would expect to see, a bunch of weird animals popping on the scene.
Yeah, I've seen so many new animals. It's just like, it's unbelievable that nobody is realizing that, the harpy eagle was never the biggest eagle, but everybody thinks that, they're perfectly fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden this new eagle pops up and there's just so much that I'm just more flabbergasted that nobody notices it unless we popped into a new timeline that all this stuff was already.
What kind of eagle was it again?
It's called a harpy eagle.
Harpy or herpy?
H as in Henry.
Okay, there it is. HARPY. Harpy eagle.
It is the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that freaky?
It's huge, too. Yeah, you guys look up harpy eagle. Sorry, I don't have screen share. I'm actually on a different computer looking at this.
Yeah, and I'm not even near a computer. I'm like I said, I'm on my phone, and my TV kind of died on me here. I don't know, maybe Mike shut the internet off. I don't know, but I can't even watch the show on my TV, so. But yeah, the harpy eagle is just like, and all the new birds with all the new colors, and all the new deer and the things that they're finding out there are just like unbelievable, and just.
Yeah, it really is, but it's hard for me to put them in my 100%ers because I just know that I might not have heard of it or something. That's what me and Dark Wolf were talking about. It's hard to. Because we don't know everything. It's easier to call something a Mandela effect if you knew it one way and now it's something different,
Well, and I think that the harpy is 100%er for me because the bald eagle is always the biggest eagle, always. Biggest eagle in the world. Yeah, so the harpy for me is like brand new, and they always come out when they first start. Oh, they're in danger of being, or what do you call it? They're in extinction mode, and then the next thing you know, they're everywhere. You know, what was that? The Saiga antelope is another one with a big long nose and everything. That thing was extinct, and all of a sudden it was everywhere. And so I don't know. There's just too many of them out there to that I know, because when I was a child, we grew up watching documentaries on animals, and I always had animal books, and I've watched this stuff my whole life. And so it's fairly easy for me to pick out a type of animal that I've never heard of. And like you said, you got to be almost 100% on it. But that one, I'm 100%. There was no harpy eagle.
Right, yeah. See, if you remember, like, looking it up, and the bald eagle was the biggest, and now this is the biggest, that's a really good indication that, you had something something that was one way, and now it's another way for you.
Exactly.
And this thing is huge. It says, meet the most powerful bird of the rainforest. The harpy eagle is a fearsome avian predator that lives in the rainforest canopy. So, man, this thing seems like it would be able to swoop down and pick up a small child even. It's huge. It's like I don't know, it's just sitting next to this guy that's sitting down, and it's like the size of his torso. I mean, it's pretty big.
Yep. And then when we were coming home off of, from the trip, we saw this bird. It was almost like it was showing itself off or something, and it was black and white, almost a checkerboard pattern on the bird. And so when I got home, I looked it up. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. And it was a bird that was, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head without looking it up on the internet again. And like I said, I'm not near my computer. But this bird was actually from South America. And it was the only thing that I could find that even came close to looking like the bird I saw. And Mike saw it too. He was in the truck behind me. And so the people on the bike in front of me didn't see it, but the two of us did. And this thing just flew up, almost like a phoenix. It just flew up straight up in front of me with its wings up in the air. So I got an excellent view of it. And it's like no other bird I've ever seen. And it was supposedly from South America. And I can't remember the name of it. Poop. I'll have to look it up again and send it to you. But,
no problem.
Yeah. So you got the pictures I sent, eh?
They were wonderful. I'm so glad you got a lot of the people that I missed a lot of people, so I was so glad that you got a lot of those and sent them over.
It was so cool to just see like Go-Kart Bob and like I said, Michelle's opinions and
my Sky's 5D.
So many people. Yeah. So
it was amazing. And everybody was real, you guys, so you'll have to take our word for it, unless we're all conspiring against you. But that's not the case.
We got to do this again. That was just way too cool. I want to do another trip like that.
Yeah, we got several people wanting to do it out east. Of course, I got this event coming up in about a month back in Idaho. Almost just as far as I went for ESETI, but we'll see what happens with that. But that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, I'm just hoping that the weather is not bad, because it is beginning of November. There could be snow, but I think the interstates will be clear.
Probably are. Yep. And Idaho is absolutely beautiful. So you're going to enjoy that trip. But yeah, you're probably going to get some snow. So just have good tires on your car.
Yeah, I might want to make sure I get the insurance on the rental.
Yeah, and make sure they have like front-wheel drive and decent tires on there, either all season or snow tires.
Yeah, I might have to up it to like a all-wheel sports utility vehicle or something.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I were you. Definitely.
Yeah,
it's worth it. Yep.
I think
up
it's
here
only
where
like
I
$30.
we have to have, where I am, you almost have to have 4-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's I want to say it's almost city type driving, but we get so much snow. And we all live on hills, so you almost have to have some kind of 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of experience with that.
Learning the hard way.
No, yeah, yep, definitely. But okay, well, I'm going to let you go, Shane. So maybe somebody else can call in and yak and I wish I could have watched a chat. Hi to everybody. And
yeah, thanks so much for checking in. It's been months. We needed our biker bait fix. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, thanks, you guys, and love everybody.
All right, lots of love to you. Thank you so much, biker bait.
Okay, love you too, Shane. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
All right, going to go back to the phone line, 661 area code. Who am I talking to?
This is High Vibe in 888. It's Maria.
Hey, Maria, how's it going?
Hi. It's going. It was a tough week, but it's going. I'm better today. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey, you're talking about the Mandela effect today. Cool.
Yeah. Are you familiar with it?
Well, yeah, because I had typed in the comments about the Flemish giant rabbit, because my son brought it up to my attention, and I said, I've never heard of them. So I looked them up. I'm like, no way. I'm like, they didn't exist at all when I was in my timeline, but now they do. And so they were, the chat, everybody was looking them up. Not everybody. Looking them up. They're like, they haven't seen them either. And then Biker Bake's talking about this eagle, the harpy eagle. I looked it up. I'm like, I've never seen that before.
Isn't it crazy? Oh my God, I'm looking at it. I'm like,
crazy. So then I came up with this theory, and somebody agreed with me on the chat. But I'm feeling, because our vibrations are raising and we're getting to higher density. These animals exist in this density, and we're starting to see them now, and more are going to be appearing that we've never seen before. I think these are like more animals are going to be existing in the new Earth, and they're reappearing. Maybe there were animals that existed in the past that don't now. And,
yeah. I totally agree with that. That could totally be the way it works, because that would also explain why we're seeing some of these extinct animals come back. And like, I thought they were extinct, but they're back again. Maybe we shifted upward. Maybe these are all indicators. That's what I thought about the Rainbow Mountains. I was like, that's totally 5D to me. Rainbow Mountains.
Oh my God, I was tripping on those because I heard of them on your show, and I started asking my family members, "Have you guys ever heard of these?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Dude," and then after that, it was those rainbow eucalyptus trees.
Yeah.
Those didn't exist. I'm telling you, and they say they're in Northern California.
Yeah.
So I'm like, or I think that's what they said. That's what the internet said. But I could not believe what I was seeing. Nope. But it's neat. Man, this is awesome. I'm so excited to be alive at this time. Oh my God.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. But it's kind of, for a lot of people, you get impatient and stuff, but once you realize, it's like, man, these are times we're going to look back and say, what a great time that was. So I say, let's enjoy it now while we're in it and help bring it about. The more we can get into it, the faster we can bring it about. So I'm all gung ho.
It's true. It's true. I feel like there's this an urgency of, I really feel that there's going to be like a big awakening this month. There's a lot of things that are going to happen this month. I'm just feeling so much energy for this month, and I'm feeling that a lot of people are going to wake up this month, and that's where we come in, because we've learned a lot in the past year or so, right?
Yeah.
Together,
I've come more in the last
all of us,
2 years
we've
than
all
my
been
whole
learning
life.
together. So now our family members are going to start waking up more and more, and they're going to say, "What the heck? Let's go ask." Let's go ask, what's her name, the crazy one?
Right. Yep.
You know what
They're
I mean?
eventually going to start reaching out to us. And it's so funny because my friend Diane, she's like, my whole family thinks I'm crazy and they know I do all this energy healing, but I'm the first one they call when some stuff breaks out,
Right? It's funny. It's so
quietly.
funny.
They quietly call her. They don't tell the rest of the family I'm going to call her. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to see more of this. People that sort of rejected us, they're going to start reaching out to us.
Yeah, it's already happening in my family. It's starting to happen. And it's funny because my son, he just came out of the Air Force. He did 6.5 years. And I always called him like a Vulcan. He's like my husband, both of them. They're just brainiacs and like not much emotion, but just everything is logical and everything has to be proved scientifically, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I had mentioned to him, have you noticed that the sun is so white? And this was a couple of years ago when I was noticing the sun. And then I go, I remember when it was orange, and I used to draw it orange when I was a kid. And now it's white. You can't even look at it a tiny bit. Not even, it's pretty strong. And he goes, it's always been white. I'm like, no way. But my husband's like, yep, I remember it yellow. So, yeah.
How old is your son
now? Oh, he's 26.
26. So yeah, he should remember. My 25-year-old remembers the yellow sun.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's an age
white,
thing.
though.
It's a dimensional thing, probably.
I think it's a dimensional thing. But he started researching, because I kept saying, it's the Mandela effect. I always say that for everything. That's the Mandela effect. So he's like, what is this? So he looked it up, and he started researching and went down another rabbit hole. I keep sending him down rabbit holes. And I go, just research it, because that's what you do. So just do it. And he goes, wow. And now he understands and he believes, and now he's starting to find Mandela effects too. He's the one who brought up the Flemish giant rabbit. And he asked me, I think it was last night, he asked me, he asked me, Tesla, what's his first name? And I said, Nikolai? And he goes, it's Nikola. I go, okay, I probably got that wrong. And then he said, did he die young or did he die old? And I said, he died young, like in his 40s. And he goes, well, I just saw pictures of him that he was old in his 80s, broke and desolate. And I was like, no way. What? And he goes, yeah, look it up. You remember him dying young. And I go, yeah, well, people are saying no, he lived until his 80s. And I'm like, no way. So I just thought I'd bring that up to you guys today.
I thought he died somehow when he was young, and then they swooped in and took his research.
Took all his...
Yeah, here's a picture of him at 86. No way. Last picture of Nikola Tesla, 86. This is crazy.
I know, right? So I had to bring it up. I said, I wrote that down. I said, I have to call in and ask Shane, because this is a big one to me.
This is a big one for me. I'm getting chills. This is wild. Oh my gosh, to see him so old. It's like that movie. Well, I don't want to ruin it for the people that didn't see Yesterday yet, but there was something in there like that.
Oh no, I'm gonna see it. But don't spoil it for us.
No problem.
Man, yeah. So that's all. I have nothing else to talk about.
That's so funny. It's like a hot potato. You just drop it on somebody's lap. You're like, there you go, enjoy that. Then they're down on the internet searching for weeks. Have fun with that. It's like you open up a rabbit hole right beneath someone.
I know. I think that's my job. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, it wakes people up. So I'm glad when people see it. And with your son being so analytical and then moving over, that's what the Mandela effect did for me. I was totally left-brained. It had to be, you had to put it in a formula. You had to be able to do experiments and test it over and over again. And the Mandela effect, when there was nothing on the left brain to make sense of it, because you can't make sense of it logically, it forces you back into the right brain and the metaphysical, the supernatural, the unknown, the fringe stuff, the spiritual.
Yeah, that's where I resided all my life. So
yeah.
Now I tell him, welcome to my side. I won't say dark side, I said to my side.
Right.
And and my husband too. He's woken up big time. Now He's really interested in all this, but he doesn't really watch these shows or anything. But I always bring things up to him, and he looks them up, and he's like, "Wow, yeah, pretty cool."
Oh yeah, yeah, it is cool now that my wife brings me stuff, and somebody else was just bringing this up about insects. There's a lot of iridescent, rainbowy looking insects and frogs and snakes and stuff, which goes along with what we were saying about all the rainbow stuff sort of popping on the scene, the mountains and the rivers and the trees. So we had a rainbow wave go through.
Trees, and yeah, we did. My cousin took a picture of an insect that it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And I've never seen one of those before, but she found out, she identified it, but I don't think it ever existed in our timeline.
Yeah.
It's a new one, so yeah. But it's neat that we're talking about it, and now we know.
Yeah.
We're seeing animals now and plants. Wow, can you imagine trees start popping up out of nowhere? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
It's like the earth is saying, don't worry about it, because she's already in 5D. She's waiting for us. So in the meantime, that's what's happening. She's rejuvenating. Oh my God, I just picked that up. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. She's rejuvenating or something. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I just got right now. I got a message. So maybe that's what it is. So maybe she's gonna heal herself. No, I think we're helping her with the meditations and the intentions, and more people waking up, like you said, and the more people wake up, the stronger this energy becomes, and the faster we ascend.
Yeah, it reaches that tipping point.
Yes.
But we've got the forward momentum going, so don't fret, you guys. We're going to get there eventually.
Yeah.
You can see it. There's all sorts of evidence around it. We can finally see and point to, and at least I know for a fact, because I think the Mandela is one of the biggest indicators that we're not in Kansas anymore, as they say.
Oh yeah. And it's getting so obvious, like when Biker Babe, I mean, which the things that she was saying, and even your spouse can change little things, from crispy bacon to the stretchy bacon. It's like, that's a trip. And it's like, I know. I think my husband, something shifted in him, and I go, didn't you always used to? But I don't remember what it was. And he's like, no, I've always done this. I'm like, okay, but I don't remember what it was. But I something shifted. It's so strange. So there was one thing I wanted to mention. I met a woman yesterday, and she was so high vibing and so it was just incredible. We just started talking and we hit it off. She's a lot like me. She's a medium, and she's been doing this for a while. She's a professional medium, and she kind of took me under her wing. She's really, really cool. And she said, Spirit wants me to take a selfie with you. And I'm like, okay. She goes, do you feel that? Do you feel that? I go, I'm feeling body chills, but I didn't feel entities around us. And she goes, okay, but I want us to take a picture because a year from now, we're going to see what we look like compared to this picture. We're going to be so much higher. And then she started talking about our ascension and how next year there's going to be a big difference between how we are now. But she didn't elaborate. Like, what do you mean? Are we going to look younger? Are we going to be prettier? Healthier looking? What? But that's all she told me. So she took a selfie with her phone. I took a selfie with mine. And we exchanged information because she wants to keep in touch with me and help me along my path. And I'm like be my mentor? It's a trip. So I was like, the synchronicities brought me to her. And she told me, she started talking about aliens. Here we go with the aliens. And I'm like, you see aliens too? She goes, you see them? I'm like, yeah, I started seeing them about a couple of months ago, like a lot, all the time. So she showed me artwork that she's done of the entities that she's seen, and I'm like, holy moly, I've seen those. I was like pointing them out. She goes, really? I go, but I can't draw. I can't draw. I think next semester, I'm going to take an art class, a basic one, so I can at least try to draw them. And the ships that I'm seeing, holy crap! And I saw space stations out in the galaxies. Oh, I can't even talk, but I need to draw them. So I have to take an art class. So she was encouraging me to also, because she wanted me to tell me what the ships look like on the inside, and I told her that there's this corridor that I always end up in first, and it has a long window, and I could see stars, and then when I'm walking down the corridor, I come onto these doors, these sliding doors, and they just open up like Star Trek. And I walk in, and I go, and these rooms, they're all white. Everything's white inside the ships. And she's like, that's what everybody says. Everybody that's been on these ships, that's what they say. They're white. And I go, and they're busy pressing buttons, and there's all these different beams. And she goes, wow. So she wants to get together with me. I think she's involved with some kind of group that talk about this kind of stuff. So I finally feel like Spirit led me to someone. I was crying and hugging her. I'm like, I thought I was going crazy, like seeing these beings. And I try to reach out with you guys, I'm like, UFO stuff. I need to go to, I'm interested now visiting like UFO conventions now. I'm like, I have to go to them. I feel led to do that. And my life's just escalating. It's escalating. I think
seems like you're in a pretty good place, though. You're in California, right? That seems like a place they have a lot of conferences and stuff.
Yeah, they do. I'm not too far away from the one in the desert.
Oh, Contact in the Desert that just passed?
Yeah, Contact in the Desert. It I don't know, it's probably about an hour away from me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I don't know when the next one's going to be, but I'm going to try to check that one out. So, but when I know, see, I talk too much and I go off on a tangent. But when she said to take a picture so we can see what we look like in a year from now, I'm just really curious what she meant by that. So that's pretty neat. So I'm waiting for that.
I don't know. If you go to some of my first videos, I looked a lot more stressed.
Yeah. I've seen all your videos from the very, very, very. I went back and watched your early ones, and like I said last time I talked to you, I told you that you've changed a lot.
Yeah.
You're glowing now. Your face looks softer. Like you.
I feel like
so
I'm glowing
tense.
now. Yeah.
You're glowing. Yes. Your skin looks healthier. You're glowing, and like you're free from the stress.
Yeah.
The stress really, that stress can kill you.
Stress isn't good for you.
Right?
And I used to feel stressful about everything. Stressful about waking people up, about getting the word out, about convincing everybody that I was right. But like all of that's gone. It's like I don't know if I'm right. I don't.
We don't need to do that.
Yeah, we don't have to do that.
So.
And it feels so much better and relaxing. I mean, if you don't believe me, you could try it, but you can just go look at my old videos and see that.
Yeah.
You even if you just work on yourself. Well, I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, we need to work on ourselves and just keep moving forward. There are times when depression hits in, or it's the sadness, and sometimes it's not even yours. It's the collective. I pick up a lot on the collective. I don't think it's the higher vibing people. It's the ones that are still, living in the 3D life. They're the ones that are bringing all this up. The stress and the money and political stuff and environmental stuff. All this is stressing the people out. But we're in a higher perspective. So we shouldn't be, sucked into that. We used to be that way, but now we're above that. So, but when people get really stressed out and stuff, it can affect us. because we're very empathic, we're telepathic, and we're picking up a lot of this energy because we're all very sensitive to energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this tribe, all of us, and especially the ones that went to ESETI. You guys came back. You'd be more sensitive to energy. So just use a lot of self-care when you get in those situations when you're just not feeling up to par. You know, not getting enough sleep and get, you know, feeling just hopeless. I felt like that a couple of weeks ago where I wasn't going anywhere. I'm like, I feel stuck. I just felt so down and drained, and it was terrible. It was awful. I heard you guys talking about it too, and I hope Michelle's feeling better.
Yeah, she's actually doing a lot better. She wasn't
Yeah,
doing too good last week, but
I know.
she's feeling better, and I know that just waves of that going through, that hopeless, helpless feeling going through, and people, you know, picking up on it. But like you were saying, a lot of people are empathic, and I think, number one, you have to know where to draw the lines and not get sucked into people's drama that they got going on, because it's easy to do that, to feel like you have to be so empathetic that you get pulled into the drama, but you don't. And then the other thing is to when you feel those energies coming in, to transmute them. You know, take that deep breath and take a moment and try to transmute them into something positive when you are picking up on that.
Right. And I know that we all, most of us, know what helps us, makes us feel better, you know. Sometimes just earthing, just taking your shoes off and earthing, you can release it. Gaia would take it, release it into the ground. Sometimes I use like my tourmaline crystal, and I hold it, and it absorbs it, and then I put it outside in the ground and let it release it and transmute it into the earth. Sometimes you can take, you know, salt baths, sage yourself, chanting, meditating, whatever, to clear your energies and clear these negative energies that attach to you, you know, and release them.
Yeah.
And now just ride the wave, because this is going to intensify. It's going to happen more often now, more and more, and it's going to keep increasing. So we have to be prepared. So that's why others are going to start waking up, and they're going to be so confused. That's where we come in. So that's what I'm saying. So
bringing the
everybody
calm and the peace
help.
and the love. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it automatically helps people feel more calm about stuff when they see that you're relaxed about it. So just that alone, you know, can bring a lot of calm to the situation. And I think that's why it's coming, you know, a few times, that's why we're scattered. That's why we're not right next to each other where we can all hang out. We're supposed to be scattered. Like the chocolate chips and a chocolate chip cookie, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. I had a channeling the other day where this being was showing me gridding. I think I told you guys about no, I didn't. But he was showing me about energy gridding. And he was saying how we're like we're like conduits for the divine energy. And when we set intentions to, say, as a group or just as individual, when we set intentions to send love and light to a certain area, but he didn't say that. He said, if you want to send protection to a city, you can send it, and the city has its own grids, and it grids it. I don't know. I have to read it because I can't remember how it was said. But he was showing me how when you group together, I was thinking about 8 at 8 with Eileen when we do the meditations. He mentioned the hurricane, and he said, you guys can do this. Oh, man, I got to find it. No, I don't have it with me. But he said that we are so powerful that we can move hurricanes. Yes, you can. And to don't underestimate yourself, believe in yourself, something to that extent. He was saying that, yes, and we're coming into it even more so. The more we do this, the more our new earth abilities are going to come online. Because we're striving for that. We're raising our vibrations, and then more and more of these gifts are going to, they're not gifts, they're innate. It's in us. We all have abilities, all of us. and the telepathy, and that came online a few months ago, and it's gotten stronger, and the psychic abilities. All this is natural for us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happened when Jesus. You know, when Jesus died on the cross, I hear that he died, and they say, and that's it. No, because I believe that he died and he rose again. His body rose again. He came back to life. And then after when he ascended, he went up. The apostles watched him float up into the clouds, and he disappeared. So he ascended in an ascended body because he was able to eat but go through walls, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
and that's what he was showing. It's recorded because that's what we're going to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I really
yeah,
believe that.
so that was like his light body, the transfiguration.
Light body. There you go,
yeah.
Shane. Yes,
mm-hmm.
And that's where we're headed.
And the funny thing is, he said that. I mean, they don't teach you that over from the pulpit usually, but Jesus said we would do the things he did and greater. Right
and greater,
there in the Bible.
Yes.
Paul said Jesus was the firstborn among many brethren. I mean, that's pretty plain and simple that we should be striving to do the things that Jesus did. And I think we can. I think our limitations are our limitations we put on ourselves, what we think is possible, you know.
Yes. And I'm learning that little by little to process. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you doubt yourself a lot. You doubt, but you got to see miracles are happening all around us.
Yeah,
There's so much magic. There's so much things I'm so giddy like I was when I was a kid. My imagination's just going crazy. And I'm like, I know I saw that. I saw that orb just fly right by me, that kind of stuff. It's neat. Yeah. It's magical.
I've been getting lots of orbs, lots of telepathy stuff going on, and it's exciting. I mean, of course I wish it would go a little bit faster, but it's, I don't know. Some of the headaches I have, I think some of that could be related, and, careful what you wish for. I'd say it's probably going at the perfect speed for all I know.
Yeah,
so.
let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, let's integrate it.
Yeah, because we just want to just get there already. But you can. I mean, if you meditate on it, you can go there in your dreams. You can go there, and if you work on it, have visions. Just use your imagination and see what you want to see, and it starts unfolding for you, and you can see the new Earth. I've seen it, dude, several times, and it's like it's beautiful. It's like it's even the atmosphere. It feels so. It's just love and harmony and peace.
Now, did you see this in dreams or visions?
Visions, not dreams. I'm awake.
Right.
And I can feel it. And then I remember asking my guides, when? They won't tell me.
Tell me what it feels like though. What does it feel like?
It feels, like I said, it feels like just love in the air, in the atmosphere. You could feel love, like it's flowing, and the flowers, they sing. The flowers, you can hear them singing, and.
Are you brought to tears when you experience this?
Yes.
Is it overwhelming?
Okay. That's why I was like, why, when, and and what was weird, what they showed me. This is weird. They showed me coming out of my house that I'm in now, and just smelling the air, and my neighbors. I don't hardly talk to my neighbors. I'm a hermit.
Yeah, me too.
I would say hi, hello. We keep an eye on each other's houses, and we're cordial to each other, but we're not friendly, Right. But I can read the minds of my neighbors, and I'm greeting them. Good morning, how are you? Sending love to each other. I'm like, what the? I'm like, wow. And I'm looking in the air, and the sky, dude, it's pink. It's not blue. The sky's pink. And I'm looking up, and I can feel the love. And maybe that's the consciousness of the people.
Yeah.
You know how we can pick up the negativity of this density?
Yeah.
That density is just pure love, harmony, peace, joy. You feel it in your cells. It's everywhere. And that's all I got from that vision. That's
that
why
sounds
I asked
like the
them,
one
when?
the one Angela had, where said she was in the grocery store and the flash happened, and everybody started giving away everything, their cars and everything. Everybody was just so high vibing that, you know, the material things didn't matter anymore, really, you know.
Wow, that's neat. Wow.
Yeah, they were all hugging. Strangers were hugging each other, and just a completely different place, you know.
I don't remember Angie's
Well,
maybe,
Angela,
maybe
that
I don't
was
remember that.
I want to say that
Oh,
was
Angela.
Yeah, I want to say that might have been from a dream she had. This was been a couple of years. I might even have mixed the people up. I talked to so many people. Sorry, Angela, if that's not you.
No,
it got stored away that way in my mind, but it is from a couple of years ago, so who knows?
Okay, because I don't remember that. But I love hearing about the New Earth. I love listening to BQH. What is that called?
Yeah,
that you guys
BQH,
do?
Beyond Quantum Healing. Yeah.
I love that. I can listen to those over and over again. I listened to, you turned me on to, I think you did, Elba Weinman.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah, she does good work.
I think I came across her, or I got the information from you, but I like to listen to those, and then when Allison Cole when she comes on, and she talks about the event and stuff, I just love that stuff.
Oh yeah, me too, and it's happening all around us, and it's like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And I still have people that come in.
Shane.
Where's this event you guys were talking about? And I'm like,
I know.
we're in it. It's happening. Look around.
I know we're in it. Exactly,
Yeah.
We're in it now. Yeah.
We're in it.
So, we're in it. That's why we see like the shimmers in the backyard, and like we were talking about it today on the chat. We're talking about glitches, and who is it that said it's like a Star Trek hologram.
Exactly. Yep, like the hologram deck or whatever.
And how it glitches. It's like that. I was seeing it this afternoon in my backyard. I'm like, oh, my fig tree, it's glitching. I'm like, oh my God. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, there's glitches. Like, is this a hologram? That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the same thing a couple of months ago. I was in jury duty.
Yeah.
And I think I was number 4 on the jury duty. And so I'm watching it all play out in the courtroom, and everything started glitching. Not the people, but the courtroom.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that when you say glitchy, does it start flickering? Or what is it?
Flickers, but it flickers, but it's exactly the way you see it on Star Trek when they fade in and out. No, glitchy, like.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's hard to describe it, but
it's just I've had a few instances where I had an area that seemed like it was flickering or vibrating, and I was like, man, are my eyes flipping out or what, you know? But it wasn't. It was just in a certain area, like I could see something glitching, but it was sort of a pulsating or a vibrating is the best I can explain it.
Yeah, I think that's how I would explain it too. Now that you say that, because it's like. Is it because, I'm just asking, I'm just putting it out there to everybody, is it because we can see more now because we're shifting? And I know that because I get pressure now in my ears that I've never felt before, and it's weird because it feels like a construction work is going on inside my head.
Yeah.
It feels weird. While your ears ringing so high pitched, the pitches have gotten higher. And they kind of hurt. Yesterday, I'm like, ow, ow.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it calms down. But so, and I feel like I'm being like worked on the inside, like they're upgrading me. That's what it feels like. I'm under construction.
Yeah. Yeah, and
so
our
now
our eyes changing.
Can see, yes. So
yeah,
now
I totally.
See.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think we're going through some DNA upgrades, so our eyes, whatever the range our eyes are able to see is increasing because I know one of the things I've noticed is orbs used to be out of the extreme peripheral vision of my sight, and I never could be sure of it, but now they're moving closer and closer to the center of my vision. I've almost looked directly at one before, and that's, that's brand new for me to be able to almost look directly at it, which tells me my eyes are becoming more sensitive. But also what you're saying is, we're going up in density or dimension or whatever, and that's probably increasing activity as well, I would think.
And maybe this matrix is breaking down, and we're seeing it. We're seeing the glitches. I don't know. There's so many theories, and because sometimes I get into the matrix part too, that kind of stuff. But I don't want to get into that. But maybe that's what we're seeing. I don't know.
Did you see the Cosmic Agency, Gosha from Cosmic Agency that I had on her channel?
Dude, I follow her now because of you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that I think her thing is probably that's why I was sort of agreeing with you, is like this whole 3D projection over 5D is breaking down, and that makes a lot of sense to me, because that's what it seems like with the things we see, and that's sort of their theory, the Taigetans or whatever.
Yeah. But whatever it is, we're all ascending. That's all there is to it. We're changing, and that's why we're all here. We came here for this. And I feel honored. I feel honored that I was able to be here. I really do.
Me too. I feel the same way. And then like we're all coming together like this, and it's this divine gathering. It's awesome.
It is. Okay, I'm gonna hang up now for real.
Okay, thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Shane.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Alrighty, guys, the phone lines are open if you'd like to call in and talk. And yes, I wonder if the Matrix is breaking down, just to fill you guys in on the Cosmic Agency view of that, in case you haven't seen it, which I totally recommend. It's at least thought-provoking and interesting if you don't buy into it. But I had a lot of, I guess, downloads that I had gotten, and then when I watched the Cosmic Agency channel and Gosha's information, it just validated a lot of what I had received. I guess there is a slight caveat. I think most people are okay with receiving the information, but there is different perspectives that the information is given in. So I always take the higher perspective. So if there is some fearful information in there is always a higher perspective. Sometimes they're just revealing what's going on one level, but that's just that level. So, but I think most of the people here understand how that good stuff works. Let's see. So yeah, there was one about the Matrix breaking down that there was a 3D overlay over 5D Earth. That 5D Earth is already here, right under our noses, and that there is a hologram projection over the top of it, and we just can't see it because of that. And that it's projected from the moon, and that there's power cells up there, and the power cells are going down. I think there was like a total of 12, and now it's running on 8 or something along those lines. Forgive me, I don't know the numbers right off the bat, but yeah, if you look into that, you'll see that it's projected from the moon, and it's going to eventually break down, and that there's weak spots now. That's why you'll go into houses that are haunted and things like that. So I don't know. It just seemed like a pretty good theory to me. Definitely worth checking out. I can't remember the exact episode. If one of the mods knows. But it's Cosmic Agency, and there's actually a playlist that you can go right down through the line. I think there's one about not real people. I think that's like the 4th or the 5th one or something, but I found them all to be pretty interesting. I totally binge watched. When I found that channel, I just binge watched straight through, and now I watch everything they put out just because it's so cool and interesting. Let's see here. Let me check the phone lines here. 661 area code, are you there? Hello. What's up, Michelle? How's it going?
I'm here to talk about Biker Babe.
Mm-hmm.
because I came in and she was hanging up, and I heard she was on here talking about me. So what'd she say?
She was just talking about how you guys got to hang out and how beautiful the ceremony was that we did for your daughter. It was just
I'm
wonderful
teasing you,
time.
Shane.
Oh.
I'm teasing you. I'm actually trying to get, mess with her. Actually, I have something to share with you that I've never shared this with anybody, because I truly believe that everybody has these gifts and abilities within each of us, and they just kind of lock online as time goes on. Just like when you came back after, you had a really serious flu, but then you came back from that flu and, like, you had a radiant glow about you. Like, whatever happened in that time that you were, forced to rest, there was a lot of work, inner work, whatever that you were doing that changed you. And it was a noticeable change. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, for sure. Because I haven't been sick quite like that since. I've had a few things felt like they were coming on, but that one had me out for a few days. And, I remember that
so
one.
it just had you rest. It just had you rest. So, but you, like, looked 10 years younger. You had, like, a glow about you. And I remember looking at you going, oh, my gosh, and talking to my husband about it, going, look at him. He looks completely different, younger. I don't know. A lot was going on.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because you just made me realize I haven't, I think since that time, I don't really go short on sleep as much as I used to. I mean, I will still go maybe 6 hours of sleep in a night or something like that, but sometimes I was only getting 3 or 4 hours, and I try not to ever do that, because it catches up with you.
Let your body tell you what you need, just like what you'll crave, what you're hungry for. You'll sleep as long as you need to. It's nice to let your body do what it needs to do, because we need to take care of this avatar while we're in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm going to share something with you that I haven't shared with anybody. The only person that knows about this is my husband. I know that you guys know about the dream that I had that we wrote down because we thought it was so funny about the election, and that's when Trump barely raised his hand saying he's going to run, and there was all those politicians, and my husband and I laughed about that, and so we wrote that down. That one down, so we had the date and everything. But in 2012, I had a dream that my daughter died. And that dream, it was so real. Now, I don't know if you're an active dreamer or if you astral project, or I know that you were working on getting out of your body a while ago, and I'm sure you have you've achieved that by now, because of when I talked to you about it, you were, and this was over a year ago, that you were at the beginning stages of coming out of your body and traveling around. So I'm sure that, that's something that you've got going on. But when I go to this place, it's like a place that's no place, at a time that's no time, and then I'll drop down into something, and then I will observe. And the things that I observed, it cost her life. I lost her. I saw myself grieving. I saw everything. Well, after I had that dream, we had already had a few that, I would share with him, and they would come to pass, like within a week or a couple days later or whatever. So I have no concept of time when I'm in that realm, and it's just kind of how it works for me. I still don't to this day have a concept of time. I can barely try and figure out location, because the terrain is pretty similar all around the world. I mean, they try to make it sound like, well, when you go over to like Afghanistan, it's all desert. No, they have metropolitan areas over there too, so you kind of have to look at the people. And even that, it's pretty diverse. So it makes it kind of difficult. But my husband is here, and he's going to verify. I sent him over, and I was going over all the time, filling their house with food and keeping an eye on, just because I was convinced that what I saw and what we had just recently been through by, as this all started kicking up in the high gear, that it was going to be something that was going to happen within days, weeks, and if I could prevent it, I wanted to prevent it. And the circumstances that I saw in the dream actually are the similar circumstances. It was abrupt, taken from us very quickly type of a situation, and then, of course, it did happen. Of course you know that because you know that. But I'm going to put Joe on for a second, see if he'll talk to you. He doesn't like this, but to verify that this actually happened. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
Shane.
Joe. Good to talk to you again, man.
What's happening, dude?
So, yeah, I totally believe Michelle, but to make her feel better, you can validate her story. I know she got my leg.
Yeah, no. No, it was crazy.
Yeah. So, do you guys feel like it was a premonition or just a warning to prepare yourselves? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, something like that. Exactly.
Yeah, something like a heads up.
All right, I'll give you back to her.
All right, thanks, Joe.
He doesn't like to go on live. You should have seen the look he gave me. He's like, "Ugh," and then I just told him, I said, I'm going to listen back to the show. Of course, I have this biker tape talk for almost an hour, so.
You did that at ESETI, too. I could tell he didn't want to talk, and so I passed him, and then you made me feel like he had something to say, and I went back to him, and he's like, I didn't have anything to say. I'm like, oh, Michelle, you pulling a fast one on me.
He does. He's just, he's going through it with me, and I am blessed with that I'm not alone. Yeah. And I feel very, very blessed with that I have my significant other, my soulmate, maybe twin flame, going through this with me, very understanding of what is going on, very open-minded to it. And how can you not be open-minded to something as you're, listening and then walking through things? It's hard to dismiss it.
Yeah.
If anything, what it's done is the faith that there is a creator, that source. Our faith is so strong now that there's no denying it. There is intelligent design, and it screams it from every different aspect of life down to every cell in our body. And how we are animated and just everything that's going on. But I've never shared that with anybody. Now, my mom knows about it because I had to go down and spend a couple weeks down with her because I was not handling it well. I was not handling it well. So, and then, of course, it came to pass, which is something I never, ever wanted to see happen. But there's something to these messages that we get. There's something to these dreams, these visions that we get. And on the upside, although we see things like that, I've also seen, like, what the place is going to look like where we're heading to. And it's beyond words. It's beyond... I can't describe it. It's beyond anything we can imagine. So, you can let your imagination run wild with all the beauty you can think of, and it's going to be beyond that. So, with that said, we really just need to be doing the inner work, and it is an inside job. We can't force other people to, do the work. And all we can do is, if they're looking for help, then we can offer it. But if they're not, they're going to get there one way or another because it's a divine plan. And anything that's planned he didn't leave anything out, or she, or God. I don't even put a sex on God anymore. I think that's minimalizing the divinity of the
it's kind of
creator
hard to
this place.
describe God with any words because none of them are adequate enough, right?
No, yeah,
they
there's
limit
nothing.
him or it or you know you can't even talk.
I mean, it's hard to call
Right.
something so divine and so perfect with this perfect plan an it. Because for us, an it is something that is less than, but no, it's all perfect, and you know, and that's something that we can hold on to. That's the hope that we should hold on to, is that everything is perfect. Everybody has these gifts and abilities within them. Whether you activate them is up to you. How fast they come online is also based on how we're able to handle them. And there's none that are off limits. It's not like, you know how the Bible lists out the gifts of the Spirit. Well, you know, and it says to one is given this, to another is given that. Well, that might have been for that time frame, where now we're at a time frame where you can pretty much operate in all of them as you can handle them. But it is work, and it's not for the faint of heart, because like I said, when I saw that, I mean, it nearly broke me. And back in 2012, it nearly broke me down. So I figured I would share that on your love stream, because you know, this is all about love, regardless of what happens or what traumas, or everything happens for a reason. And I do believe in that pendulum. When that pendulum swings so hard, so fast in one direction, it's got some pretty strong momentum of coming back the other way. Yeah. So, you know, and so yeah, as long as we all keep sharing and realizing that we're all equal in this and not segregating, then we're going to do great. We're going to do great. And like I said, I've seen the place. I just can't describe it. It's beyond description. I tried to pull some images, you know, from the galleries that we have now, and they don't do it justice. Like the fruit trees, colors, it's beyond anything that we could even fathom. So, anyways, and Biker Babe, I love you. You're my girl. And Rita. Picturing Rita as a troll is just too much, man. She had me about falling out of my chair. So, oh my God, I don't know if you can read the chat, but she said that she trolls around a lot. I was like, yeah, okay.
Oh, so that's why Rita was trolling David the other day in the chat on accident.
Was she trolling somebody?
No,
it's hard for me to picture it.
Her phone glitched.
Rocks. I can't see her trolling.
No, her phone glitched, and it put David in timeout for like, I don't know, it like hit his comment, put him in timeout, and she's like, I didn't do that. My phone's going haywire here. So
her phone was like telling her energy. Yeah. She didn't have to do anything, just think it, and her phone just did it.
Well, she dozed off to sleep, so I was like, well, maybe your finger landed on his name, and you know, when you hold your finger down on something, it pulls up options. So, but she thinks it might have been something else. I don't know. It could have been a glitch, or I don't know. I'm on the fence about it, but she said, "Oh shoot, that was awful." So I want to ask you while you're on here, because we were both from the Christian religion, and we've both sort of. You know, when you're in Christianity, you're taught that the world's dying and going to hell, and it's our job to get the word out, and really it's ingrained in us that it is our job. Other people's journey is our job, and if they die and go to hell, and it's because we didn't share, you know, Jesus with them or whatever, that was sort of on us. And it's like, you know, there's this burning building, and you're running in, you're trying to save the people. So a lot of us have that, you know, deeply ingrained in us, that other people is our responsibility. Other people's, you know, their decisions, their choices, their lives.
Have you ever thought about what was he truly telling the people? What do you think he was really telling them? What was the good news that he was giving to the people that was so freeing and so liberating? Do you really think that it was that he was going to go and die on a cross and be bludgeoned and all this horrible stuff?
Right, because we have a death sentence.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be more along the lines of you're a child of God, you're divine, you've got, all of this is within you. He knows the very numbers on your, counts the numbers of hairs on your head. Yeah. I mean, that you too you don't have to be related with the church or, pay these fees to go in and learn from them, because God already knew you from before the foundation of the earth. I mean, there's so much, it's like almost like everything, it was so backwards and upside down, inverted. Yeah. So is it truly that he went and they killed him and that's our salvation? Or is it that he was telling people that the divine spark is in them?
Exactly.
And that's the good news. I mean, what would be better news for you? That somebody that you love so dearly as Christ being amongst you is going to go and die? That doesn't sound like good news.
It doesn't sound like good news. And one of the things that got me, because I had read the Bible dozens of times before this sort of dawned on me, and I was going to go through the New Testament again, and I was like, wait a minute, did Jesus ever say? Because I remember times when people was like, what do I need to do to reach the kingdom of God or to get to heaven? And it just dawned on me. I'm like, well, why wouldn't he have said, believe that I'm dying for your sins and you can...
No, he said the kingdom is here now.
Right. But, I mean, you don't realize that Jesus never said, if that's the main core of the religion, you would think Jesus, and you would think Jesus would have said it once, but he doesn't,
That's right. And if he's sitting there saying that the kingdom of heaven is here, it's something that's attainable. We just, have not reached it because we've been stifled. We've been led astray. We've been living under a lie, and the truth is restoring, and it is coming out. It's the truth. So it's just it's a beautiful thing, and I look at the Bible as the book of how God redeems His children from our wayward ways, from us falling so far away from who we truly are, bringing us back into remembrance of who we are and who we are to God. And that, it does say in the Bible about the breath of life is shared from God. So the divine spark that animates our body comes from God Almighty, comes from Source. And when it leaves, when that divine, your essence leaves, your avatar stays. So we only use this body here to experience, expand, and learn. So I just look at this place as a big school. We're here to learn and grow and expand and experience. Even if it's pain and heartbreak, it's an experience. It expands us, it broadens us, so we can have more compassion and love for one another, which is the whole theme of the gospel.
Yeah, and Kiara Sones brings up a really good point. He said that he is the way to the Father and life eternity, and life and eternity. And I think, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. I know how the church explains that, but you could actually read right into it the way you would read it if you didn't have doctrine surrounding it. And you would read that as, I better follow him, I better do what he does, I better use him as my role model or a guide for how I should be living my life. And if you do that, that is the path, that is the way to the Father, isn't it? The Heavenly Father, if you will.
Yeah, and you could look at it that, we were all born after Christ, so he resides within us already. It's tapping into that Christhood. It's tapping into you being a child of God, and it is about you acknowledging it. It doesn't take away from God, creator of everything, at all. If anything, it broadens that, and everybody will be on their knees thanking him for this amazing experience of redemption and reconciliation, and making a way for us to remember who we are to God because we are his children. So we're not gods. We're God's children. So we inherit things, but God is eternal. So we're never going to take the throne, so to speak, nor would I ever want to. I'm satisfied with him just being I don't like calling him it. So with God being God, Almighty, creator of all, and being in awe of everything that is possible, that is through God. So, yeah.
And I believe that's what we got, this energy, this Christ consciousness is what's coming back now and really unifying us, uniting us, helping us progress forward into the transfiguration like Jesus did, like,
on the mount, when he went up there and transfigured it right in front of him, he went right into his light body. So,
can you imagine the whole world doing that? Wow.
It's going to happen. It's not going to happen as fast as we would like, but that's where we show patience, because if it's happening like this for us now, just imagine 10 years from now. Look how quickly it's been for you. Well, for me, it's been since 2001. 2001, I started having the dreams and visions where I could remember them. Now, I don't, I'm sure I was having them before then, but I wasn't remembering them. And then it goes through a process where now I can make sense of them. And then it got, in 2012 when I had that one, it crushed me. I mean, I about, drove my husband crazy, sending him back and forth over and to check on her, or I was over there, mothering her, and she didn't want a mother. She was a grown woman, but it was that real, and actually it happened. It happened with the same things that I seen in the dream, the same area of the world, which was here. It was sudden, and the same type of circumstances revolving it were all involved that I saw in the dream. So, but like I said, not everything we see is good, but it all serves a higher purpose. Because I know now that she was not in that body, but I felt her energy when I went and viewed her, and to finally get to see her, I knew she was no longer in that body, but her energy signature, which we all carry our own energy signature, was so powerful and palatable, and so much love from her. There's kind of like she was coddling me like I was the child and she was the mother. Because she's on the other side. She knows. So she's been visiting and helping me through this process. It's still hard. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's not an easy thing. This is not an easy thing. But
I imagine it's probably the roughest thing you guys ever been through, both of you.
Yeah, and to think we thought that, that one, just wasn't going to come to pass. That was, a pizza dream. You hope for it to be a pizza dream, and then it happened, So I do recommend people that are having dreams, even though I don't do this, as I really should more, is write down their dreams as they have them. What I do now is I just hit the recorder on OBS. I don't put any picture or don't even worry about it. I just record my voice into there so I can get as much detail into it, and then I have a personal audio diary of it. It's easier for me that way. Otherwise, I'd be writing down a long time with every detail, and then by the time I got halfway through, the dream would start slipping away from me. So it's just quicker. So if you have a recorder, a little tape recorder or something that you could use, that's probably the best way. Well, at least for me it is. So, write them down if you're having dreams, and make sure that you put your date stamp on them, so that way you can kind of, gauge them.
So have you already started writing yours down or no?
No, I voice record them.
Oh, okay.
I have several on voice recording.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, because I noticed when I started writing mine down, I started remembering more. So it was almost like just from the very act of writing them down makes you remember future ones more. Did you find that was the case with doing the audio recording? Or is it the act of writing it, perhaps?
From 2001 to 2012 was a growing experience on how much more I can remember. So now I can remember, like if my husband comes home several hours later and let's say I recorded the dream, I could still tell him verbatim what happened in the dream. So it just took me a while to be able to retain it longer than that first few minutes when you first wake up.
Oh, okay. So
it
you're
all
saying
just takes a little bit of time.
So over time of recording them, now you can just remember them better?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
and it is a gift. It is a gift. I mean, but you don't always see what you want to see. I mean, but then again, like I said, I've also seen where we're heading, and my gosh, it's beyond anything. There's beauty in this world all over the place now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I saw, this place just is so dull. It pales in comparison to what it's going to be, where we're going, where we're heading. So, that just keep your hope, keep doing the inner work, and listen to your body and keep moving forward. And there are people out there that are authentic, that really want to help people move along the journey, to help activate and move them along so they don't get stuck in certain areas, from trial and error. And with several years of going through it myself, I can see people going through within 5 years what took me almost 20.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Just because you could, I've stumbled, I felt. Now, they can take the wisdom or they can take the experience. It's their choice. We always have our sovereignty and we always have our choice to make.
Absolutely.
But I will let somebody else call in. But, yeah, Rita trolling, that's pretty funny. Make sure we all resubscribe to Suso. He purged his channel. So if you were subscribed, you're not now, because I just went over there and he did. He purged his whole channel. He's starting from scratch. So make sure
Really? He was still a moderator, though. I wonder.
He didn't get rid of himself. You can go through, and he got rid of all of his subscriptions and all his videos, and he's starting from scratch. So I just had to resubscribe to him myself. And I've been a subscriber of his for years.
Let me look here and see if I'm subscribed.
Yeah,
no,
check it out.
You're right.
You're not.
I'm not subscribed.
Subscribe and hit that bell.
I just did. Okay, glad to see you're back,
awesome.
Suso. And he's supposed to be coming up to Idaho for this Mandela Effect conference. I'm super excited. I'm like, dude, bring your books. Come on up there. It's going to be a great time. So.
Oh, you're going to meet so many amazing people. We just don't have the money for it,
I don't either.
It was
I'm working on it, though.
It was a blessing to get to see you guys all up in Washington, and it was wonderful. There was a hiccup, but otherwise, it was wonderful. Everybody's so beautiful and so full of love that the good memories outweigh anything else about the trip. We had a beautiful time, and I just enjoyed meeting you and hugging you and getting to see you in person. And, we did get to talk a little bit, and it was wonderful. And
meeting your husband was awesome, too. He was super cool.
Everybody loved him. Isn't he amazing?
He is. He's awesome.
He is, and, he's so shy about, this kind of stuff. But I think it has to do with his profession and his work, and so, he kind of keeps it on the down low profile. But
I get it, yeah.
Yeah, but he, he is, right there with us and walking this out. And he's been a witness to many things. And it's, like I said, the faith, that there is a creator, that we have no doubt. You couldn't convince me that there's not a creator. You can't. You can't convince him there's not a creator. It's just not possible. It's not possible.
And that's one of those things you have to experience, don't you, to really know. Kind of like the Mandela effect. I mean, you can kind of think, but until you really see that thing, until you really see a glimpse of God, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the NDE, that was pretty eye-opening for me that was when I was 15. And so that was, an eye-opener there also. And they say once you touch the other side, you tend to bring things back with you. So I don't know if when you were super sick, I'm not trying to be scary or morbid about this, but maybe you came close and you actually touched the other side and came back, and that's what really activated, and that's where you just changed so fast, so quick. I mean, you look like you were glowing. Your skin looks different. You look younger, and everything expedited. So I don't know how sick you really were.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you're sleeping, you can go over there and high five the other side and come back.
Right.
See what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if did you hear about the Mandela effect with Cynthia Sue Larson, where somebody remembered her dying on their timeline?
No, I did not know about that.
Yeah, this was interesting because she wasn't public with saying that she got really sick at one point, but she got really sick on our timeline, and it wasn't in the public or anything. But for this one guy, he said her husband got on there on Facebook, announced that she had passed away. He remembered reading it and sharing it and all of this stuff. He said, there's no doubt I'm mixing people up or anything. You for sure died on my timeline. He told her when it was, and she said, that's strange because I actually got really sick during that time. Isn't that amazing?
Interesting.
So it's like she died. So that goes along with what you're saying. So I'm only just saying that maybe I died on another timeline on that one.
Well, and, I don't know, because it does seem like the stars in the sky have changed. Our sun has changed. A lot of things have changed around us, and it doesn't match up with where we were at before. So what really happened? We will find out in time when God's ready to reveal it to us. Mm-hmm. But for now, that is, something that we should always keep on the table, that there is that possibility or probability that something happened and we moved on over to another place. Maybe that was his way of what some would call the catching away.
Yeah.
And
it's funny because we were talking about Suso. I think he's got one of the most compelling stories to support this whole idea of dying and jumping into another timeline.
Yeah. Suso's story is definitely one of those books that you don't want to set down once you open it up.
Yep, it was like that for me. I read it straight through, and it was... He said somebody complained in the middle. I'm like, dude, I had no complaints. It was great all the way through. Even a few of the stories I'd heard on his channel were still awesome to actually read them and hear more details about it. So I thought he did a great job.
And he was on my show when we were talking about his book, and he didn't know me that well. And I said, well, somebody that would pick up that book would think it was science fiction. And I think he thought I was saying that his book is science fiction, but that's not what I was saying. Mm-hmm. I was saying somebody else would pick it up and because it reads like a science fiction, but it's actually a fact. These things happen to this man. So
that's how all of our stories are.
Yeah.
That's why we have to hang out together, because it's just a little too weird for most people. They're like, I don't know, he's crazy. But who would waste their time? I mean, I'm sure there's some people, but who would waste their time spending so much time in our community and just make up stories? You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, you get bored real fast, and it wouldn't. If these things were not really happening, the commonalities, the things that we're going through, being able to share it with people without having any judgment, with people that have an understanding because they're going through it too, is a wonderful thing. As long as we don't have some kind of a hierarchy encroach in, I'm all good.
Absolutely.
As long as, you know, as long as everybody's an equal, you know, because that's what I see when I look at everybody is even if they're not like what we would call awakened yet, they're still an equal because they have everything that we're going through is in them. It's just a matter of when they choose or when, you know, that aha moment is going to take place for them. And then maybe by then it'll only take 1 year or 6 months to catch up to what took me 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this younger generation's even soaring through all this. I mean, it seems like they're equipped with half the stuff I had to learn, you know. They come right into this planet ready to go with a lot of stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah. They come in intact. Yeah, because we went somewhere. This is somewhere different. It's from my perspective, this is not the same place. It seems smaller. Also, it's so different in so many different ways, you know, and the most obvious to me is when I look up in the sky, the moon smiling at me and all this weird stuff in the white sun. And, I mean, some of these things are so obvious that it's like, okay, hold on. It's undeniable. And I remember, you know, being taught in school we're in the Sagittarius. Now, I don't know how they confirmed that or how they had an understanding where we were in the galaxy, but now we're on some Orion spur. See, how did that happen? Because, you know, I mean, everything changed to this Orion spur. Like the Sagittarius arm existence doesn't even exist. It's not even taught in school. You know what I mean? It's like, it's something happened. Something's going on, but it's all going to work out. It's all going to work out. And we could be here or got moved here to help. Lighten, you know, maybe it was going a little too dark here and it needs to add some balance, keep everything in balance, you know, because balance is important. They need to stay at that 0 point, you know. It's like I said, when that pendulum, like for us, it swung so far that one direction with losing her. But I know how the pendulum works. It's going to swing back the other direction just as far, and then it's going to swing back and forth until it gets back to being stable again in the center. So there'll be up days and down days and up days and down days, and that's just the nature of having a traumatic event happen in your life. It's how you deal with it. Are you taking it out on other people, or are you still showing love towards them? Are you wanting justice and an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, or are you ready to forgive and move forward? All we want is the truth. We just want the truth, you know, about what happened so we can heal. That's all. It's just as simple as that. I don't want any harm to come to either of the gentlemen driving the vehicles. Now, my husband might not feel the same way. He's a man. Men think differently. But pretty much we are usually on the same page with that, you know. You're not going to go beat up anybody or do anything, you know, out of line. We just want to heal and carry her forward with us in our heart, you know. But with that said, I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, the delay is horrible. But I just wanted to say I'm so glad that you've got a community here you can come and share with and get some love from us. And we're thankful for you and Joe being a part of this community. And, I just wanted to send you guys lots of love.
I'm a part of many communities. I'm an unbiased. I'm an unbiased observer.
Yeah. This community and any other you're a part of.
Yes, and you're a part of many other communities too. It's just like because you know what, when we're all God's children, we're all one community. It's just But
I always
yes,
see this
it is
as
nice
the
to have people to talk to you.
I always see this as the ungroup group because this is the group that you can just come be a part of. There's no stipulations, but most people that don't want to be a part of the group, it probably isn't a good fit for them anyway. So it just kind of works out that way, you know.
And you can pick, you know, which areas of it that you want to participate in and which ones you don't. There's no your feet aren't held to the fire here by you with any standard. You can participate when you want to participate. You don't have to participate where you don't want to participate. It's all good. There's no judgment. It's all good. It's all in love and sovereignty and equality.
Absolutely.
All right, I got to shoo him off to work. So
well, thank
I always
you, Michelle.
love talking to you. We
Yeah,
need
me
to
too.
talk offline sometime and do a real deep dive catch up. But enjoy your speaking engagement. You're going to
Thank
have
you
a
so
blast.
Lots of love to you
Talk
and
about
Joe.
crossing communities. You're going into dipping your toes into the Mandela, and
Oh, yeah.
they can be a little cliquey.
I'm kind of a loner.
You'll
I've
be fine.
experienced the Mandela effect, but I'm not part of any groups or cliques. I'm the ungrouped
Hey,
group.
yeah, and Suso will be there, and he's an ungrouped group too.
Yeah.
So there'll be more of you grouped people there than you know, and you'll do fine.
And I'm cool with the groups
you
too. I'm cool
You
with the
should
groups.
be able to. Ungrouped group means you flow in and out of every group. You don't care. You're unbiased on it.
Exactly.
You'll partake at any buffet. If there's something to eat there, you're going to graze. You should be able to live stream from there, though, from that location.
Yeah,
So
quite
we may
possibly, yeah.
may-
depending
we
on the
may
venue, I
possibly-
can probably get on their Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah, so we may get a surprise live stream from Unbiased and on the Fence while he's at the conference. Cool.
Absolutely, yeah. There'll be a lot of great people to sit down with and maybe go live for a few minutes, or even the actual, my talk. I'll probably pre-record it so I can put the PowerPoint up on the screen instead of it being just a video from there. So I won't live stream it because it's just too technical to be able to do that on the fly.
Oh,
I
sure.
could at home,
Yeah.
but Plus, they're going to be
you're gonna
recording
be
it professionally, so I might get a copy of that.
How
That
many
would be awesome.
How many speaking engagements have you done?
This is it. This is my first.
Okay, yeah. Get yourself a slideshow and some note cards.
Well,
'Cause you may get
it's the same thing as a live stream, but yeah, it isn't. It's basically what I'm doing in front of people. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Well,
just like I was
if
at
you need
ESETI
to,
in front of the big group.
Look at them like they're all naked.
Well, I'd say my biggest show, I did a big show for this outdoor campground. It was called Bearcat Campground in Missouri. And it was this big the stage was like 6 foot off the ground. I had to go. They were like, I was the first act. And they were like, oh, no, just go and introduce yourself. And oh, my gosh, man, I had to walk up those back steps of that stage and go out there with the lights all on me. And, nobody had been up there. Everybody was waiting for the show to start. But, the moment I said, how's everybody feeling out there? And everybody started hooting and hollering. It was
You got
like
a
I
concept
switched
of
into
how
the
many
performer.
were out there?
Yeah. I knew it was a lot, but I got the, I switched into the performer, did my show, and it was a lot of fun,
Awesome. I know you'll do great. You're a good public speaker. It's just, those are my own phobias, I'm lucky to have a YouTube channel because of not liking the way I sound or the way I look. To step out and do a YouTube channel, it was huge for me. But I don't know about getting up on the stage in front of all these people and fielding questions. And I don't know. But I can't say I wouldn't do it, because if I say I won't do it, then an opportunity is going to come up and I'm going to be doing it. So every time I say I won't ever do it, it happens. So I'm going to say, I'm leaving that on the table so then I really don't have to worry about it.
Right. As soon as you say, I'll never do that, you're going to for sure do it then, right?
I know. It happens that way. I don't know. I'm telling you, we're in backwards world. So anything that you want to do, say you don't want to do it, because then you're going to do it, okay? So anything that you don't want to do, say you want to do it, so then you don't have to do it, because it's backwards here. Everything's inverted.
The inverted matrix we find ourselves in.
Yes, in the upside-down land where we're trying to turn everything right side up. And once we start to see things turning right side up, that's when we'll be able to tell and other people will wake up to that.
Oh, yeah.
When they start seeing the changes where, things are not so backwards, where things are actually people are being treated as a sovereign being and with rights and respect, it'll be noticeable. And that's how we'll be able to gauge, and people that haven't even put their toes in the water yet will be able to start having their eyes open.
Yeah, definitely.
To it. Yeah. And we're being prepared for a reason. There's people being prepared for a reason and getting our hearts ready and getting the understanding of, that everybody is a child of God. So no matter what, there's going to be people out there that are going to help the others to move along, like I said, in a much more rapid but palatable, gentle fashion without making them lose their mind. Because if you woke up and you were 3D completely into politics and all that, and you woke up the next day and all your gifts are cranked on and everything is like totally supernatural, you think something and it manifests in front of your face, people will go insane.
Right.
Right? When you
Oh,
see,
yeah.
I mean, instant manifestation. So it's going to have to be, there's going to have to be some help out there so people don't think they just lost their marbles. So,
well, I mean,
yeah,
think about the Mandela effect. Most of us most of us were eased into that, but still, it was mind blowing. So yeah, if you're imagining stuff appearing out of thin air or something like that.
Well, my Bible, my physical Bible in my hand that I was reading, changed.
Yeah.
I read the chapter, and then I set it down, and what I would do is I'd read a few verses back so I can continue on, like a little refresher. Well, when I went to read back the few verses, it changed from denarius to penny. Caesar's face was on the penny. And I'm like, what the flip just happened? And it was like overnight. It was like an overnight change, and then I started looking through my Bible and seeing all kinds. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And everybody says, the Word of God cannot change. Okay. Well, the Word of God in my heart hasn't changed, but the one in that book has. It has for me anyways.
But even that book says the Word of God is Jesus. I always point that out to people, too. And Jesus didn't change.
No, he hasn't. And that one verse that says, bring all of those who would not worship me and slay them before me. And then this is the excuse that they give. That's a parable. It's not a parable that Jesus spoke.
Right.
He never said that even in a parable way. He never talked about slaying people or, things like that. Now, he talked about the vineyard being, lent out and then killing the servants as they were coming to collect, for the Father being God, or, you know what I mean? It talked about those kind of parables, but those parables talked about, how things were going to progress. It was not about, bowing down before him, if not, slay him. I think it now says decapitate them or something. I don't know. It was pretty gross, but that verse never existed. It's in Luke. I think it's Luke chapter 19, and mine went to 26, verse 26, but now I think it's got a 27th verse in there, and that's where that verse popped into my Bible that was not there before.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. But I need to get him off to work. I enjoy talking to you, and I always enjoy listening to what people have to say on your Friday night love stream. And I love everybody. I love all you guys. Oh, there's Nancy in there, and we got April, and that was that Curl Stones, and Pretty
Carrie,
Dark, and Mel, and I'm doing your shout-outs for you.
Joe's like in the background, like, come on, you got to get me to work. Doing shout-out to the chat.
Yeah, I know. He ran in the house. I'm probably just going to go slap his uniform on, but I got to go get his coffee and all that to put together. So, all right.
Always enjoyable talking to you, Michelle. Lots of love to you, and Joe, too.
I love you guys. I love you, Shane. And, yeah, have fun at your outing, at your trip. You'll do great.
Thank you so
you'll
much.
hear from me again. Before then, I'm around.
Awesome.
I'm around. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
All right. Lots of love. Peace. Bye.
All right. So that pretty much does that. I do have to pick up my wife from work here momentarily. But, yeah, I wanted to tell the not-so-fancy Nancy. Nancy's talking about when Eileen and I were doing the live Power of 8 at 8 from ECETI. We had a big room full of people, huge circle of people, and, you know, at some point I was like, wait a minute, I just realized this is public speaking, my first public speaking thing, and, you know, I act a little freaked out about it. But I really wasn't that freaked out about it. I was just sort of playing into the little bit I was feeling and having fun with it. But you can see I didn't freeze up or anything. Not until Michelle put me on the, she had me feeling like I had cut Joe short, like he had something to say, and then I was like, oh, goodness. But she was just trying to get him to speak when he didn't want to speak. See, I picked up on Joe, what he was setting down. But Michelle was trying to manipulate him into public speaking, I think. But anyway, all right, I'm going to cut this one a little bit short, 15 minutes early. It's 15 minutes to the top of the hour. You guys make sure you look at the links down in the description box below. I will be back tomorrow. Oh, let me double check something. Yeah, hear my grandson. Okay, let's see here. Okay, yeah, just Eileen. I was making sure I didn't have an afternoon show tomorrow. I'm laughing at Nancy. It's just your face at the moment I said it. That's funny. Yeah, it's pulling. Okay, so yeah, nothing tomorrow afternoon, but tomorrow evening we will be here, Eileen and I, for the Power of 8 at 8. So excited for us to come together and change the world for good. If you guys have any suggestions, think about them, have them ready for tomorrow. I don't think we have anything lined up just yet. You can email us or just mention it in the chat when we go live tomorrow, and we will have a new topic to change the world. Lots of love and light to each and every one of you guys. You guys have a wonderful evening. Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.